I'm stitching this in here right now. I just wanted to inform you that we're going to be using pink for the lettering for the captions of this video because everything that could go wrong went wrong. I just noticed our background cabinet is open. Let's get into it. Hey guys, welcome back inside the shop for another video. Today we're going to be explaining the Mountaineer lift. I want to finish some wheel well liners. We're going to address some of the clearance issues we had to fit the 33-inch tires. It looks awesome and we got it currently so that it doesn't rub at all, but we do have to address the fenders where we cut some of that away. We made some custom wheel well liners, went over to my buddy JT's garage, the guy with all the old Toyotas. We were just over there a few weeks ago for kind of a vlog type episode. It's been a crazy week, you guys. Winter's finally here, and ironically I had two customer cars in a row that were the exact same thing. So I had two Ford Focus blower motors, and if you know anything about these, they're probably the stupidest designed blower motor in the history of man. The first one I did was a 16, second one was a 17. Let's check it out. Guys, we're doing our second Ford Focus blower motor in 2 days, ironically. Yesterday's was a 16, this one's a 17, and this might quite literally be one of the worst designs in history. I'm not going to complain too much because it keeps me having a job, but let me grab the light here. See that hole right there? That's where the blower motor goes. So right here, you got to take off the bracket and all the connectors for the body control module. You got to take the HVAC box apart because that sits in front of the blower motor in there. And then what I wanted to show you, which I hope will help somebody out, let me situate this light, is what I do to make sure you get this in there the right way. So when you put this in, the fan portion, the squirrel cage, faces this way and it locks into place. There's no bolts holding this in. So to lock it in place, you can see the old one has a top or closed, little mark there. So you know which way to put it in so it will lock into place. The new one does not have that. So I put a paint mark here after I referenced the old one to figure out where that goes. And then that's not going to help us because that'll be on the driver's side. So I'll follow that down and I put a mark here so that when I'm going in here, I can reference that and make sure that I'm kind of lined up. Just make this job a little easier. Again, second one in 2 days. This is a lot of fun. So we dealt with that. Let's get into the video. Oh, there it is. That could have been much worse. Well, we're already starting out great. Look at this. This is Herculiner on top of a rubberized undercoating. Yeah, that did not work. Even Sammy's got her jacket on. It's cold. Well, this wasn't really on the bingo card for this project, stripping off all the work you did last night, but yeah, that's how it goes. We got the Mountaineer up on the lift. We're going to talk about the lift finally, the new shoes, all that stuff, and a few things to button up. If I sound a little funny today, you guys, I apologize. I've been sick for like the last 4 days. I think we're finally getting over it, but still dealing with some congestion, that kind of stuff. So if you see a booger, mind your business because I've been blowing my nose like crazy. Anyway, we started off today, not great. Obviously, you saw that clip in the beginning there. So anyway, that out of the way, this is just stuff you have to deal with. So we're going to redo those fender liner inserts. We're going to get that done today, hopefully. They have stripper on them right now. We're just going to have to, I don't know what happened. I'm not a painting expert, but that stuff just did not cure at all. It's about 60, 62 degrees in here, so I would think that should be plenty warm to be able to do that. I don't know exactly what happened. Again, I'm not a painting expert. I'm going to get set up and we'll get into the video. That's just the kind of day it is. Doesn't look pretty right now. Promise we got a plan for this, but we got that whole raw inside edge where we cut sealed with the seam sealer. All right, I know this might come as a surprise here, but I had absolutely none of this on my bingo card today. You know, skinny rabbit, first world problems. We're gonna deal with it. I think what happened on our wheel well liners is I used a solvent to clean them off. After that, I let it dry, and then I sanded again and tack clothed everything down, but I think we had some sort of a reaction with the solvent that we did. This is the product right here that we just got done applying to the fenders. You can see it's a very obnoxious white color. This is POR 15 rust inhibitor line of products. This is just a seam sealer, and what I did is I went ahead and went just on that raw metal edge that we had to cut when we trimmed the fenders. So we got the wheel well liners addressed. We actually went over to JT's shop and made those last week. I just want to get them coated, you know, some sort of paint. One, because the material we used was white and blue, and that's going to stick out like a sore thumb. And two, just to protect from rock chips, rust, stuff like that. So what I ended up using was a rubberized undercoating, and I did like 4 coats of that. Once that was dry to the touch, then I went ahead and applied some Herculiner, just a bed liner. You know, it's just a wheel well liner. I wasn't overly concerned about it. And then I got here this morning. Let me grab a chunk of this stuff. I don't know if that's going to focus. There's just moisture oozing out of this stuff. This is the coating, you guys. I scratched this off with a putty knife. So yeah, there's moisture in it. The shop is about 60 degrees, so not ideal, but should not be cold enough to cause that kind of a reaction. So those are getting stripped right now. We'll go through, probably use a different product, get them painted so they're just at least black. So this is obnoxiously white right now, and we're gonna have to do something about that because that sticks out like a sore thumb. I'll show you what I did on the front bumper. So on the front here, we had to make a cut as well to not rub on our 33s. And what I did is I used that same seam sealer, and then I just took a paint marker and did it in black so that it's not, you know, obnoxiously white right here. The reason I did it on this, because this is plastic, so obviously it's not going to rust. I didn't want the edge where we had to cut through, I didn't want the monster liner to peel back. So I just did that bead of it there, did some black over it just to make it blend in a little better so that our coating doesn't peel off the bumper. We got the raw edge cut on this side as well, so we'll let that dry. There's those guys sad with stripper on them, so we'll rinse those off and then, you know, sand them up again after they dry. I'm gonna save the duckies. So this is fun. Again, guys, none of this was on my bingo card, so we just got some Dawn dish soap, some water. Just gonna scrub these. I already rinsed off all of the paint stripper. We're gonna have to do this. Scrub them really good, let them dry. Then we'll sand them again, most likely. Tack cloth them, get another coat of paint on these things. Then we can go to the final step before we go to reinstall them on the truck. There, well, hopefully round 2 will go a lot better. Well, one thing that can go right today and can't get screwed up is showing you the lift. We did this over the Thanksgiving break. I used my old man's hoist. I'm gonna flip you around, show you. On these trucks, it's relatively simple. Basically, you can just do lift shackles, and then you can also twist the torsion bars in the front. It's probably, honestly, one of the cheapest ways that you can achieve a lift in a 4-wheel drive vehicle. So I'll flip you around, show you kind of what we got going on. All right, so right there, you can see our lift shackle, and then we follow down. We got some helper springs that I had powder coated to match the Bilstein shock. Come on over to the other side, we got the exact same thing going on. There's our helper spring there, and there is the lift shackle. If you can see that right there, one thing that does need to be addressed, and I'm a little bit disappointed with these shackles because they were built for this car, but you can see where it's actually making contact with the frame there, so I'm gonna have to take these off and clearance them, which means cut them, you know, and cut through my new powder coat. Honestly, it wasn't so bad. This bottom bolt right here, where it goes through the leaf spring bushing, this one, I'll see if I can find the picture. This one gave us some trouble. Was able to press it out of there without destroying the bushing. And then we got 4 new bolts. 1, 2, and then 2 new ones on the other side, of course. So that's pretty much the lift back here, you guys. Just the helper springs to help with the ride quality a little bit, and then, of course, our lift shackles. All right, so then to get some lift out of the front, you guys, this is a torsion bar setup. So you can see that bar goes all the way to the front. You just add a little bit more twist. You can see that nut in the center there, along with my paint marks. I use that to reference. I think I went 2 1/4 turns, so they're not fully maxed out, but that is gonna create tension on this bar and will actually lift your vehicle. So this part is essentially a free lift. The last part of this story is gonna be control arm bolts. So right in here, I don't know if you can see that super well. Right up here, do you see where that plate is? That's a cam. So that's actually a rounded section. From the factory, these control arms aren't adjustable at all. So you can see those 2 cams, one there and one there. It's essentially like an offset washer. Think of it that way. That gives us some caster and camber adjustment on the front control arms, because from the factory, you can't do anything about that. Then after you do your torsion twist, you're just kind of at the mercy of wherever the geometry of the vehicle is at that point. So we added those in. They're a lot of fun to get in there. There's one on that side. And then peeking up right there, you can see the other one, but that's essential because then we went, got an alignment done to make sure everything was hunky-dory there. You know, if you didn't eat the dog bed, you'd have a dog bed, not a moving blanket. So the lift on these particular vehicles and a lot of old four-wheel drive pickups and things like that is pretty straightforward. You get the shackles, you twist up the torsion bars. The problem is when you do that, it changes the geometry of, you know, everything else on top of giving you a much harsher ride. So I could have actually cranked the bars up even more, but I chose not to do that because it still rides decent. It's a little bit stiffer than it was before, but if you go all the way up and you max them out, not only are you going to have a miserable ride, it's going to ride like a lumber wagon, but two, the CV axles in these already sit at a pretty steep angle, and you don't want to have the joints, you know, sit in something like that because you're going to go through CVs like crazy. So it's a lot less stress on the vehicle to not max those things out. You know, you can do it, but it's not recommended, and you can get into changing keys and stuff like that, but again, you're going to end up with a very harsh ride, so wouldn't recommend it. So our seam sealer's applied to that raw edge just so that we can't rust, and then I have it taped off with just a tiny bit of overlap so we can kind of color match that. That gooey stuff in there, that's fluid film. You can see where we cut the wheel well liner there. So those metal ones that we made with JT will go all the way from the top, and they come down, fit right in these corners, just because now there's a big void in there and I don't want that filling with snow and ice. All right guys, so it's current God. All right, so it's currently the next day, you guys. I apologize. I feel like this video kind of got botched. I feel worse today than I did yesterday. So I've been trying to get this done so that I can get some other stuff in here, get it done. We ended up getting the liners recoated, put RTV around the edges so there was nothing sharp. Then you saw there I took a black paint marker and just touched up where we put that seam sealer so it wasn't obnoxiously white. Let's take a look at the wheel well liners. Haven't cut the zip ties off, but that's essentially what it looks like. They're not, you know, exactly perfect. I was going to put like some rubber hose right there, but I'm not overly concerned with it. It's going to keep most of the stuff out, and it's not going to rub. Looks good black. Didn't want it obnoxiously blue. Driver's side, same thing. This one fit just a little bit nicer, but overall going to keep the snow and ice out of our fender. I did apply even more fluid film right there. You can see it. I put it up behind the fender and down the seam, and then we have that cable right there. These things, you know, they're metal. They're going to keep rocks and debris just out of that big gaping hole. So guys, that's what I got. This is all the minor piddly stuff that you don't think about when you do these kind of things. I absolutely did not want to leave that exposed metal edge from cutting the fender because inevitably that's a spot to rust. Also, we had to cut through our monster liner, and that's going to leave an edge where that could potentially peel back. We got the black paint on it so it looks decent. We have our liners in there, which is going to keep most of the snow, moisture, debris out of there. I apologize you guys for this video getting kind of botched. I really don't feel great at all, and then obviously we had a few mishaps, but it's how it goes sometimes. If you enjoyed the video, drop me a comment down below, like and subscribe if you've not already, and as always, thanks for watching. We'll catch you next time.